Hello, everybody. This is Jay.
And I'm Ryan.
And we are Kinda
We
Critics.
are Kinda Critics.
All right. We're starting our channel today with our spoiler review of Deadpool 2. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of our discussion, I'd like to take the time to let everyone know how we'll be running things here. We give some background to the film we talk about so we don't tilt like complete idiots. We will talk about our pros and cons of the film, give a rating of 1 to 6 stars. Why 6? Let me explain. 6 is highly recommended, 5 is good but not great, 4 is decent, 3 is kinda good, 2 is so bad it's good, and 1 is just not worth it. SKK. So Deadpool 2, hot off the heels of the original from 2 years ago. With the first movie 10 years in the making, it's clear that a lot of work and production was put in to make a fun, albeit surprisingly cheap film with a budget of about $58 million was the first one. It just seemed like a combination of creative marketing and Ryan Reynolds' near flawless portrayal of Deadpool that felt like some of the main reasons that it succeeded, you know. But why do you think, Ryan? What do you think made the first one work so well?
I honestly think what made the first one work so well, excuse me, I'm stumbling over my words here, but I honestly think what made the first one work so well was how generic it was. And when I say generic, I mean it was fresh, it was brand new, and nobody probably knew what to expect. So when it hit theaters and people ran to see it, not only did it already have the Marvel appeal, but we wanted to know what we were getting.
I think the sequel had a lot going for it. Change of director. Tim Miller, David Lettich is like the director of, he's the co-director of John Wick and Atomic Blonde, some of my favorite action movies. Atomic Blonde, more or less. But I feel like there was a lot of expectations that it carried, and so much could have went wrong. But what I admire so much is how Ryan Reynolds kept the energy throughout the film. He's basically the Iron Man for the X-Men franchise right now. He gets what this character is. He lives and breathes the character. And even when the plot takes its time to meander through, Ryan Reynolds knows exactly what to do, and he delivers what makes sense for his character to say. There's never a moment where I felt like he was going too far or he was hitting too low, because I just felt like that he understood. And I kind of just say that this is probably the smartest comedy sequel to come out of the woodwork since 22 Jump Street, especially for superhero movies. It just never felt like more of the same. I don't know if you've seen 22 Jump Street, but I felt like that sequel, it was just as good as the first one, and a lot of people were panicking that movie was gonna pander, recycle jokes, recycle the same scenes over and over again. Deal with the same sequelitis that we see over and over again when it comes to sequels that double their budget. This went from $58 million to almost more than $100 million on its budget. The director left because he kind of said, "Oh, I wanted to make a bigger and better one," but I guess that's what works. It's they didn't make it as big and as better as they thought they were going to be. They just had a little bit more money to work with, and they did a lot more gags, and I thought that was fun. I can tell right now they had a lot more fun with this than they just as they did with the first one. So yeah,
most definitely. I will say this when it comes to sequels, and this is with every sequel, even Alvin and the Chipmunks. If you think about it, they want to make something bigger and better, and sometimes the fans don't really clamor for bigger and better. We don't clamor for anything mega large to happen. We just want to see a good sequel. And if you can follow it up real good, we're happy about it. I feel as though when directors try and meet their own expectations and be in competition with themselves when it comes to a first movie and then the second movie, that's where they start messing up at.
Yeah. No, yeah, I completely understand that, and that was kind of the disappointment I had with movies like Kingsman 2. It's just they had so much ambition, but then they just spent a lot of money doing nothing with it, and that's just ridiculous. But that's why I'm glad they picked a director like David Lettich. He really improved the action in this movie. The first movie, I did like the action. I think everyone's most memorable scene in the first movie was when he had just 6 bullets and he shot down all those guys. That was the beginning action scene, and I thought that was a good way to set the tone. But as far as the rest of the action scenes, I don't remember too many of them. Not even the last one. I just remember a CGI fight with Colossus and the big boob chick. I don't even fucking remember. But most of them were just gags. They just felt like they used a lot of slow-mo, a lot of special effects, and were just gags, which I was fine with. But it's just that polish, that control. You didn't see the camera jump a lot. He was really consistent. He knew what he was doing because this guy, he helped out with John Wick. He used to be a stunt actor. He used to like actually be part of stunts. So of course he knows how action flows, how it works, and it just felt so fluid. Especially like towards the end, with that when Deadpool's fighting with a brick and Josh Brolin's fighting with shooting with a gun. It all blended well, but it also matched up with the humor that the first Deadpool was so known for, and it really escalated. It gave this film more of a class, like, oh, this isn't just a comedy now, it's also a really good action movie. No matter what, this is not an X-Force movie, it's not a Domino movie, it's not a Cable movie, it's just Deadpool and company. Don't expect anything from like a typical superhero, which I'm fine with, but with so little character development like that went with everybody else, I just felt like the only one that was actually like dealing with an arc, that was Deadpool. Like he was dealing with the loss of Vanessa through the whole movie, which I'm gonna talk about in the next reason why I didn't like it. But that's honestly, I just felt like it did risk a lot, and it did juggle a lot, and I could feel them like they were spinning a bunch of plates, and one of them just broke, but they didn't care because they were still making us laugh. This is just a straight up entertainment movie, and I feel like that's what they were going for. It was just really a disjointed movie that Deadpool probably would direct, and I thought maybe that's why I didn't feel like I was going too hard on it. But at the same time, yeah, I could see what they were doing, and the foundations were crumbling a little bit, but it pulled through. I was like, yeah, the jokes in this movie were unbalanced as hell. You have Deadpool referencing 5 Juggernaut comic books, and then making another reference about a movie like The Passion of the Christ. I remember that line. That was really funny, but there's just a lot of it was just not balanced for me. I just felt like this is the point where they wanted to appeal to no longer the general audience but the fans, because or not even fans, just people who have watched superhero movies. And I feel like that's kind of like what the first movie didn't try to do, because the whole point of the first movie was like, oh, this isn't just another superhero movie. Like that was the whole like theme. This theme was inconsistent as fuck. Like and I'm pretty sure like I'm getting sick of the DC jokes. Like I get it. Making fun of DC is like making fun of Trump. It's getting old, It's not funny. It's not as funny as it used to be. And I feel like this movie is not going to age well once other superhero movies come out, or maybe when DC actually has a better movie. But it's just like they really did up the ante with jokes like they usually do, like they did in the first one. But they could have balanced it out better. They could have had more jokes that were funny in general, or like they could have been more clever with their stuff. Like the one joke that I laughed at that nobody else laughed at that bothered me was when Domino's getting chased down by Cable, and he's like, oh, he's coming from the back. Oh, he's coming inside. Nobody laughed at that, Ryan. Nobody laughed at that but me.
I laughed I won't laugh. I laughed so hard at that. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. Yeah. I'm like, does anybody know if he's using sexual references right now? Yeah. And then I look around, and to the left of me, I kid you not, I can't make this up, there was a dad and his son, and I think his son had to be like 9 years old. They were both laughing. so I'm like thinking to myself, this is a little messed up.
But this is where I thought, this is why it's a con, because yeah, this is an entertaining movie. Don't think that I don't think the emotional investment was there. It was trying to be there, which was why it was juggling so much. But then it all falls down at the end, because at the expense of a joke, they decided, all right, let's bring back Vanessa. Even though she's dead, we'll use time travel. So not only are they trying to make a time travel joke and a joke at the fact that, like, oh, yeah, let's bring back Vanessa, it just completely ruined the emotional investment of all that. It's like, oh, well, it didn't matter if she died. She's going to come back anyway. Ha, ha, ha. Just like how Deadpool came back to life anyway. Like, I know you're supposed to – I know that was the whole point, but my point is like, what point were they trying to make with that? Like, that was just like you were trying – this was what the sequel was trying to do. It was trying to cover new ground, but now I just feel like it went backwards out of everything it was trying to do and say about whatever themes it fucking had. I don't know if it was family, if it was brotherhood, if it was, giving someone a chance, or, that dumb shit. That dumb shit didn't matter. At that point, that's what I knew. I was like, and if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about the ending, post-credit scene, time travel, saves Vanessa with a butter knife, boom, there. But that's exactly what that problem with that joke is like, it didn't go too far, offensively. It went too far story-wise. It just didn't help. And that's why I think this is just an entertaining movie. And I'm going to give my final rating right now. It's 5 stars, 5 out of 6. It's entertaining and has very much more creative direction of a superhero movie should have. And it isn't Marvel, and it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. I mean, sure, for now it's because they're going to get taken away soon, and I don't know what's going to happen to Deadpool, but yeah. What worked for you?
My first pro is Julian Dennison. Now make no mistake. Yeah, make no mistake about it. This kid is 15 years old, still in school, still lives at home with his parents, and is already headed for like more big screen appearances. and like if you think about it, to be able to meet someone on the level of Ryan Reynolds on an acting scale, he's like the breakout star of 2018 when it comes to Marvel movies. Now, if you ask me, this is gonna be a stretch, but I think 2018 is the year for like overweight mutants in Marvel movies. I like it. My second pro, I would have to say the fight scenes. They were very limited, but they were still amazing. Like the epic battle between Colossus and Juggernaut, by far the second coolest.
Still doing that? Holy shit! Is that how you're actually saying it?
Yeah. I mean, there's two different ways you can say it. It's Juggernaut or Juggernaut. I like Juggernaut.
Who told you that?
I like that pronunciation.
Okay, whatever. I'm just pretending like you're saying Juggernaut when you're saying Juggersnort. It sounds like a Smurf, dude. Like, what the hell?
Did you just say Juggersnort? He sounds like a handicapped Pokemon.
Yeah, it evolved from Juggersnot,
Juggersnot. Oh my God. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I think that epic fight was like the second coolest thing in the Marvel of 2018. Now, that's not to discredit anything that happened in Infinity War. Don't get me wrong. But between Black Panther's train scene between Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman, that's number one. That's a heavy number one. This comes in like a heavy number 2 for me. Like, this fight was awesome. Now, you of all people know me, and when I say know me, you really, really know me. And I've been pretty adamant about this for years. And I really do mean it when I say it. Marvel movies are not movies you just go see on a Friday night or a Saturday because you need something to do, or it's your first date and you think it's a good choice, or it has your favorite actor in it from that one movie with that one guy in it. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand if you just out of the blue don't know what Marvel is and you decide to go see it. But the Deadpool films, if you don't get them, don't go see them. That's my thing. These jokes were specifically for fans. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're like a total butt munch who's seen the first one and you see some guy or girl on the street and you decide to go flirt with them because they have the shirt on and like empty your knowledge of Deadpool jokes from the first one, please be my guest. But I need you to understand something. That does not make you a fan. If you didn't understand these jokes, you're probably not a fan of the movie. Like, even the superhero jokes, like, sun's getting real low, big guy. That was my favorite joke, period. Like, I'm like, does anybody else not get this? And then, like, you realize the people who aren't laughing are the dummies who left during rolling credits.
Which is another one of your pet peeves.
I hate it so much because, again, it just shows how much of a fan you're not. Okay, so my con right now that I'm looking at is making Mega Sonic Teenage Warhead lesbian. That was completely damaging to her character, to the film.
Mean?
It was completely damaging. I didn't like it. It was stupid.
Why did it offend you? Why did it offend you, Ryan?
I won't say it offended me. I will say it was stale on me, and it was a stupid idea. And I'll tell you why.
So you're telling me you think they did this for an agenda, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, and let me get into that real quick.
All right, go ahead.
Don't get me wrong. I'm all about freedom of sexual orientation. Me, myself, and I'm very straight. always will be. Ladies, I'm single, bilingual, and always ready to mingle. But, like I said, and I feel the same way about music, I don't want to hear about, nor do I want to listen to stuff about, like, political views in my movies or hear it in my music. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't care if you're lesbian, like, I just want my scientific universe saved. Like, I highly doubt if, like, when I'm in a scientific movie and a laser beam is about to shoot me, I'm gonna ask, hey, before you save my life, are you lesbian? No.
Okay, but look,
That was...
let me try to get something out of there then. So what if Negasonic Teenage Warheads was a lesbian in the comics?
I don't know, was she?
I mean, I don't know. I don't fucking feel,
like,
I don't feel like looking it up right now. I probably could right now. Let me check this right now. There was never indication that she was a lesbian. Yeah, in the comics, apparently. Because
I just like to point out, in 2018, just because you have a low haircut doesn't make you a lesbian.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because I'm looking this in Quora, and it says, not every woman with short hair is a lesbian, and they put an, they put an exclamation mark. And I'm like, you're about to say that, aren't you?
Wow, that's crazy. See, I just want to put it out there, we're not even looking at the same thing right now.
Movie, anyway. I don't know why it bothers you so much. Like...
It bothers me because she wasn't barely in the first one. She was actually in the first one.
Okay, but look, did it bother you that Domino is black, even though in the comic book she's white? Do you think that this movie was trying to put an agenda out there?
Yeah, definitely, I do. Like, hey,
I can understand why that's a con. Then you could have just said that first. You didn't have to say, oh yeah, I don't like lesbians in my movies.
But then I wouldn't have been able to throw my jokes in there.
Oh yeah, gas the short-haired women. Yeah, that's what it's like.
You don't have to have an agenda. We don't need to know what you're thinking. Like, we don't need to know that you're trying to. No offense, even for a black guy such as myself, I don't need to know that you care about the black community, especially in a superhero movie. I don't care. I just don't.
You know what's funny? The fact that Domino is black and her power is good luck, which is not very...
I bet you Domino could drive.
Without
being pulled over. Yep. That's kind. And again, unpopular decision. I don't care. This soundtrack was absolute trash. Now, aside from Pat Benatar, Cher, and Dolly Parton, the rest of this music was absolutely boring from start to finish. The 007 theme at the start of the film was cool, but I felt like some creativity, like from a creativity standpoint, it could have been better and not so much of a copycat from all the James Bond movies. It's probably the worst starting point to a film, period. I hated it. Like, Ryan Reynolds is very creative. Like, those ending scenes, like when he was in Logan, when he went back to the Wolverine, where he kills himself for reading the Green Lantern script, like all of that creative. Like, so don't tell me you couldn't have got creative with music, because I know you could. Like, even the first one when he's sitting on the bridge listening to Shoop, that was pretty awesome to me. Like, that's what drew me in to see the movie. Yeah. I'm like, I don't even know who Deadpool is, but I want to figure it out if he listens to music like that.
Yes, I mean, and not to mention, like, the dubstep stuff. Like, that was, like, a whole joke. You realize that? Like, that was a joke, but they had to put the dubstep music because they're like, oh, well, we have to put the dubstep music because we made, like, 5 dubstep jokes.
Right.
And I was just like, like, I guess if you're not a fan of dubstep, you're not going to like those scenes because, like, they're in those action scenes, like the Cable and the Deadpool fights. And it's just like the whole thing, like, and then to me, that was a low joke. I thought it was just a lame joke, The whole point, like, was so Josh Brolin can say, oh, what was it? What did he say? Dubstep's for pussies. I was just like, oh, that's it.
Right.
And then dubstep's playing, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of wow. I wonder how they thought of that joke. Jeez. Yeah.
This is the thing. None of those newer songs stick out to anybody. But the older ones fit perfectly. It's like a turn back time. Oh my God. When I tell you I lost my mind when I heard that, I lost my mind. I freaking love that song. Like, that, all Cher songs are my favorite. And that's saying something. Like I said, I love Cher. I love Dolly Parton. Those music and Pat Benatar, music like that is timeless. So if you put it in a movie, somebody's gonna like it. Like, you're appealing to somebody, you just don't know it. You don't always have to go, oh, we gotta throw a lot of new music in here for people to like it. Like that song by Lil Pump, so unnecessary. It's called Welcome to the Party, featuring
okay.
French Montana.
Oh, no. Wait, what scene was that on? What scene?
I wanna say it was the scene when they were about to jump out of the plane.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a song playing during that.
That's the crazy part.
You know
He
what?
delivers the speech, they jump out of the plane, and in the air,
And did they
Little
ever,
Pump
did they
kicks
ever
in.
use, what do you call it? Mama Say Knock You Out by, what's his face? They did a cover of it.
LL Cool J?
Yeah, but it wasn't Lil Cool J. It was, they got someone else to do it. But yeah, did they ever play that song in the movie?
They did. When they were running in slow motion, when they were actually about to go, fight with Cable and Domino.
What
when they were going to stop
I don't even remember
Julian
them playing that
Dickinson for the
song
second
that
time.
That's so weird. I do not remember a single one of. Yeah, you're right. I could remember at least. I could name off a couple of songs from the first Deadpool. I cannot name out a single song except the beginning songs and the end song, and the main song they keep playing a couple times. But no, yeah, you're right. I do not like the music. The soundtrack did not sync well with this movie. Honestly, like I think they just had a bad couple picks, and at that point it was just dead noise. All right, I get you.
But final rating, I give this movie 3 stars.
3 stars. Wow, that's surprising. Oh my God,
it's decent. I mean, like I said, decent movie. Doesn't meet the expectations of the first one. This is like a guy approaching a girl for the first time and he wants to impress her. He tried too hard, and I think they definitely tried too hard.
Yeah, well, 4 is decent. 3 is kind of good. Maybe we kind of fucked up the rating there. You can say it again. 3 is kind of good.
yeah, 3 stars, kind of good. Go see it. I mean, if you want to be in the in crowd, because I know there's somebody out there who does.
All right. Well, I guess that's the end of our show right now. So just like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you think about the Deadpool 2 movie, and we'll be sure to get back with you about it. And what future does the X-Force Deadpool 3 hold? If there is going to be a 3, and how just give us a shout out and let us know what you think. I'm Jay, and
I'm Ryan,
and we are Kinda Critics.